Greetings and welcome back to SmartWatchTicks. Today we're going to do a comparison video between the KINGWEAR KW88 and the new LEMFO Y3. Okay, first off, let's look at the physical differences and similarities. They look really about the same size overall as far as the watch face goes. And that's a good thing because they are. They're 1.39 inches each of them with really good screens on them. So what's different? Well, the bands are different for sure. That's a leather band, you can tell. This is a rubberized band. The buttonology is definitely different. We have 3 buttons on the Y3. We have 1 single button and a camera, which is different on the KW88, right? What about microphones and speakers and things? Well, let's look at this one. Pretty smooth side here. Aha, there's the speakers coming out above the band. And there's the little microphone hole down below. So when you wear it, what it looks like on is this. When you wear it, you're going to have the speaker up above with the sound coming out away from your face. But the microphone is going to be down below. All right. Again, you have 3 buttons on the side, all doing different functions. And we have total reviews of both of these watches, so I'm not going to break it down. You can find out what they all do by watching the review. Let's look at the bezels. The Y3 bezel in this particular configuration looks like this. But wait, the Y3, unlike other watches, comes with different bezels when you get the different color combinations. You notice the difference there? You see, this is a black band, that's a brown band. They're both silver-colored watches, and they have different bezels. And there's one more bezel difference when you buy the 3rd color. So when you choose a color, you can actually be choosing the bezel that goes with that color as well. The KW88 has its one fixed bezel. Now, when you look at these bezels, you got to kind of decide for yourself what feels right. You know, this has got a very strong bezel with white writing on a black background with 5, 10, 15-minute markings around the edges. These bezels are different. This one, as you can see, has some markings, and then it picks up with some numbers. The other one had this tachometer type of a bezel to it. If I can get it to focus, there we go. Same size watches, just depends on how close or far I put them from the camera, and I move them to try to get them to focus best for you. The watch band difference is significant, and that's a big deciding factor really is whether you want leather or whether you want rubber. Now, let's get deeper into the watch itself. Obviously, this one has a camera. This one does not. So if you're into a camera, that could be an important feature for you. When you look at them side by side, in terms of overall thickness, well, what do you think? KW88 look a little bit thinner. I'm trying to line the bottoms up. And I'm trying to line the top up with that straight line in the background. And as best as I can get it, there you go. KW88 looks a little thinner, but it also looks a little wider overall. And it's a play on the camera, whichever one I put in front. But see there, this one's in the front, and it sure looks a little bit... I mean, now they look identical, right? But it's because it's in the front. If I put them side by side, the KW88 seems flatter and broader across. Maybe that's visible when you put it on. Here's what it looks like on my arm. I'm probably an average wristed guy, not excessively large and not really small either. Okay, that's the KW88, the Y3 we saw. Looks a little bit smaller overall, even though the screen's the same. Looks smaller, but it sits a little bit thicker. That's my judgment call on it. Yeah, we could get into micro mediums and measuring devices, but this is a look and feel kind of a video for you. What I do want to get into, though, technically, is what's going on inside. And there's a really cool app that you can download called AIDA, AIDA 64. And we want to launch that on both of the watches. because this gives us some detailed information. I'm going to go into System on both of them. And best we can get a focus, what I want to show you when I scroll down here is the information about the memory. All right. You notice they both have 512 megabytes of RAM installed. Sorry about the background reflections there. Then we get down into available memory. That's in your RAM. And this is the true random access memory, not the way the Chinese specs talk about RAM as internal memory and ROM as total memory, including external memory. That's very confusing. The AIDA 64 is reporting your actual processor RAM. They both have 512 megabytes, and it doesn't much matter what it's saying is being used and what's available right now, because that's that fluid RAM of what's going on, inside the watch. Just know that it's half a gigabyte of RAM. What is important is the internal storage total space and free space. Now, the free space, of course, is marked by how many things you have installed, in particular the apps. The internal memory then, is the quantification of how much actual internal storage space you have to use on the watch. And on this one, we're at 2273, and at this one, the same thing, 2273. So that means you can get the same number of apps installed on your watch, and they're pretty much basically identical. They clock in at a full 4 gigabytes each, not the pumped up 8 gigabyte versions. So they're the same. In terms of RAM, they are the same. And we can come back over here. Hopefully, swipe out of here. Back one level. All right. And let's just take a quick look at the CPUs. That's the information on what's running inside. Notice any differences? Okay, 4-core CPUs. They're the same processor, basically the same thing. And the last thing I want to portray on here is the, where are we? The Android version. There's where that one button thing is a little bit funky. Let's go into Android. And same on this one. Okay, and what are we running? 5.1. And there's all sorts of baseband and build stuff, and that has to do with the updates and the firmware when you start getting into it. But they're both running Android 5.1 Lollipop. Now, when we're talking firmware, I have something important to tell you that's a distinction between the two. Because right now, really, you're just deciding on what looks right, yeah, because everything else seems to be pretty much the same. Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about, there's the speakers on the side on the KINGWEAR one, and the microphone hole is right over here. Whereas here we had the microphone there and the speaker there. Which is better? Well, it's really about which is louder from the electronics inside, and how do they handle phone calls and music and such. I would be inclined to say that anytime that there's a speaker above rather than on the bottom, it's going to be better. And on the side probably is better because it's closer to your ear than on the top, but it really is how loud is the speaker. And that's kind of a judgment call when you get into actually playing with this stuff. What I want to talk about on firmware has to do with these watch faces. Let's get back to those. Okay. This is a stock watch face that comes with this particular Y3. This is a custom watch face that a designer developed and has been installed in this watch using a special process, and we have a video specifically on the KW88 installation of custom watch faces that you can look at. Well, you could. You see, the KINGWEAR, the maker of the KW88, updated recently the firmware. And in that update, they did a good thing and a bad thing. They added something that when you get and you scroll to the end of the list, you get a little plus sign and you tap on it and it accesses a server where there's lots and lots of additional watch faces that you can download just by hitting and saying download. And they get installed. Really user-friendly, really easy to do. That's the good news. The bad news is all the designer-created watch faces, those that you're seeing here, these are no longer available. For whatever reason, it's not working to be able to install custom watch faces. So the KW88 is a bittersweet situation right now. You gain the ability to download specific watch faces that are accessible from the plus sign, but you lose all these fancy custom ones. What's the feeling about that? Well, my feeling is the custom ones are incredible, and they're amazing, and they're constantly coming, and they come from lots of different developers. The ones that you get from the plus sign are pretty lame. They're pretty limited. They're not that attractive. No, I can't show you because I'm not going to update my KW88 and lose this ability. So you'll have to just take my word for it or look at other reviews where they've done that of how good are the watch faces. But you know, watch faces are a small fraction of what these things can do. So if the whole watch face game is not a big deal for you, then I just wasted 3 minutes of your life. But if the bezel look, the overall look and feel, what's the watch like when it's off? What's it like when it's on? How is it attractively? That part might be your deciding factor. Oh yeah, both of them. If you have it set up that way, when you twist it, and it'll show you the time quickly. And by the way, if you didn't know this, when it does do that, if you touch it, it'll go right into the watch, and you're in your watch face, and then you can go wherever you want to go from there. So just touch the screen when you see that little sign. No, you can't put this regular face and have it turn on automatically. Both of these, they automatically go into that. I'm not sure if I have that feature turned on this one. Yeah, it does. It goes automatically to that little digital display. It helps to save battery. So on all of these watches, same feature. You're not getting a distinction point there. The deciding factor for you on which of these watches you want to purchase really comes down to how does it feel for you? They really are similar. The pricing is variable. And down below, check in the show notes, I'll have links to purchasing locations for both of these, and hopefully as good as best price I can negotiate for you. And buying from those links helps support our channel, so it's a win-win all the way around. But check on the pricing and see what you think. The last thing then is the backs. How about this? These are standalone watches. How easy is it to put a SIM card in? Pretty easy here. You just take the screw off of the back, and you can insert a SIM card and run it as a standalone watch. It's not totally easy because you do need to have a screwdriver. You can't just lift it up with a tab. So it's going to be a little harder if you wanted to take the SIM from your phone and put it in your watch and go out for a jog and then come back and take it out of your watch, put it back in your phone. This one is the same thing. We have a screw. So you got to carry a little screwdriver no matter which one of these you use. The charging is identical. Look at that. It's almost like they're mirror images in a different kind of a case. But wow, look at that. What happened there? No idea, but it's really gotten big. Uh-oh, I think I hit a button somehow. There you go. We're back again. So they're pretty much the same overall watch. The KW88, the LEMFO Y3. They're both beautiful watches, good choices. Look at the bezel. Look at the band, and look at the overall look and feel of the watch for making a decision on which one's for you. Thanks for checking us out. Click on one of the links in the boxes you're seeing right now, and that'll take you to the full review of the KW88 or the LEMFO Y3. See you again soon.